to Cooking with Heart Foundational Class 1. So we're going to be together for the next 4 weeks. I'm super excited. So I want to thank you in advance for the effort that you're putting in here. I know you're going to just, lots of things are going to happen. You're going to find it's worth it. I really have full confidence. I'm super excited that you're here today, both in person and virtual. So we're going to have some fun, and we're just, your mind's going to be blown away. So we're going to talk about why we eat, how to set up your kitchen so that you can eat more of the things that you want to eat, because they're going to bring you the health that you want, plus they're delicious, okay? So that's always got to be in there. And there's a lot of other things coming, so I'll share some more details. So first, I want to ask you, who likes to cook? So raise your hand at home. You can raise it, or you can like raise your hand somehow. Who likes to cook? We've got some hands here. Okay, put your hands down. Who would like to be inspired to cook? Oh, we got some more hands there. Okay, well, you're in the right place. I'm glad you're here. So today we are going to make 5 dishes, not 4, 5 dishes. So we're going to make my absolutely favorite way to have salmon, and it is so easy, guys. After you make it 2 times, you're going to have it memorized. So it's salmon with lemon and wine sauce. Then we're going to make a vegetable that I'm going to keep secret for now, because it's one that people kind of turn their noses up at. So we're going to make a dressing that is, it's very versatile. You can use it for salad, you can use it to dip, you can put it on your fish. So all kinds of things you can do with that dressing. Then we're going to do a naked burrito bowl. Now it's naked because it has no tortilla, okay? So, and that one is super quick. I always have one dish in these classes that is 10 minutes or less, okay? I promise you, this one will probably take you 7 minutes the first time you make it, okay? It's that quick. So, and it tastes good. You're like, well, how does it taste? Well, you'll get to taste it tonight. So, and then we have drop chocolate chip oatmeal cookies, okay? So, Hayden, how about you be the first taster of those, okay? So he said yeah. So how young are you, Hayden? 7. He's 7. He's you guys, just want to let you know we have Hayden here as a guest. So, okay. Now, and then I'm going to cover in a little bit some about heart healthy eating to clear up some of the confusion, so you know what to pay attention to, what to maybe kind of limit. So we're going to get into that. A little housekeeping. Everybody should have gotten a binder. If you didn't, let me know. We sent them out, so go ahead and send in the comments there if you haven't gotten it, those that are virtual. And those guys virtually, just if you've never been on, I love seeing everybody on. You got on here slick. There's a chat. We'll probably just use the chat. I try and make it very simple. So if you can kind of find the chat bubble, you can use that to send answers. You can also take yourself off mute right now. You should be muted. I didn't really do that. You guys are quiet. Good. Okay, so let me just double check. I've got you muted. Mute all. Looks like you're pretty close too. But if you look, there's a microphone somewhere in a row around the edge of your screen, and it's got a cross through it. You just need to click that to get yourself off mute. I can't take you off mute. So I love hearing from you, and actually usually it comes through pretty clear so that the people hear also. So I am recording. I'm recording 2 computers just in case, because you know that, just in case. Because the reason I record is because I cover a lot, and sometimes you just want to listen to it again. Also, I know that sometimes your schedules, you think that you're going to be here for all 4 classes and something comes up. So I've got that as an option. It does take me into probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, to get the link to you to listen to, just because I have to give it to marketing, and there's, all these hoops that I have to go through. But there is a recording that you'll get, so that if you want to listen to the class. Let's see. I cover in the first 45 minutes some key concepts for nutrition that are tied to what we're eating, the dishes that we're highlighting. I try and jazz it up, so I've never had anybody fall asleep on me. So Hope to keep it that way. And then we go into the demo for the dishes. And I usually go step by step so that you're confident making the dish, but that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for teaching you about how to store the ingredients, how to substitute, swap out, how to make it to your preference. Because I really want you to take the skills you're learning here to go on to other recipes and just build your whole repertoire. So these recipes aren't magical. I am biased. I think they're great, but I want you to make them so that they're ones that you really look forward to. Like you're like, oh, I can't wait till I have that salad at lunch, so that you just devour it down. So that's what I want you to do. Moving on to some key principles so that you get the most out of the classes. I cover more than just information. I cover some mindset pieces and psychology pieces because that's really important for those to take root in order for the behaviors that you want to happen to actually happen in your life. So, chances are you signed up for this class because you want to lower your cholesterol, your blood pressure, you just want to eat better, you want to feel better, maybe lose some weight, something like that. This is all possible. All of that's possible. I know this because you registered for the class. You're here right now. You're committed to this, to taking action. So registering was the first step, and here is the second step. You're attending. Now, I want you to commit to all 4 classes. I want you to commit. Now, I know something might come up and that's okay, but I really want you to commit. And I'm talking to those of you that are really good at taking care of others and sacrificing yourself. Here, I'm asking you to have integrity and commitment for your own self so that you make what you came here to happen. So, okay, keeping your word to yourself. So I know that's tricky. I had to learn that also myself. And the light bulb went off. Oh my goodness, I'm not keeping my own promises to myself. Oh, okay, I need to do that. Okay, the best time to do this is now. So even if you've got a crazy schedule, now is the best time. You got to get this going, okay? This is a journey, a health journey. And when I say that, I want to back up and say, this is the piece that most programs miss. Now, there's all kinds of programs, diets out there, and most of them work for a subset of people for a short amount of time. But programs and diets do not work for everyone for a long period of time, okay? What they don't teach you is that what you're on is a journey that you're on and you're not getting off, okay? I've been on it for 30 years and I'm gonna stay on it forever, okay? I want you to start thinking about just progressing, not perfection, progressing, taking that next step, getting healthier. I'm healthier now than I was 5 years ago. Think about that. Now, I aged 5 years. I look 5 years older, but I'm healthier because I'm incorporating more things, learning how to make this stick and sustainable. I'm getting more dishes I love. I'm learning how to make them. My kids are moving in and out of the house. Oh, I'm losing 1 in 2 weeks, so I'm navigating all that. So this is a journey that you're on. Now, in addition to, I talked about like you're doing the class for your cholesterol, your blood pressure, weight loss, feeling better, extending your life, maybe your health span, all that is great. But I also, what research shows that you have to go bigger than that. You have to go for your big why. What is it that this is going to bring you? Okay? Okay, because what happens when your blood pressure drops or you lose the weight? You're just going to go back then to your old eating habits? A lot of people do. you got to have something else that you're keeping at, that's keeping you going. So I'll send you a video this week, and you could view that if you want to. That's optional. But for the research shows, having that kind of big why is really, really helpful to keep in mind as you're on this. Okay. We've had a lot of success stories in this program. Two of them in particular, Christopher, him and his wife, they were in their late 60s. They did the program, continued it for 6 months, dropped well over 100 pounds between the two of them. He went from 72 units of Lantus down to 2. So that's a huge change. She went from 11 medications down to 2 medications. So, you know, he got his HDL was a normal for the first time in his whole life, his whole 60 plus years. His HDL, he was told it was never going to be normal, and he did it through lifestyle. Jessica, she had a heart attack at age 42 young. She went through the classes, lost 60 pounds. She is a 13-year-old, now 14-year-old boy, that she now has energy and is confident that she's going to be living for many years more. So now I tell you those success stories, but I also want to tell you we are all at different places in our life. You're here, but I don't want you to start comparing yourself to somebody else that is what's going to happen for you. Eventually, you can get all kinds of wonderful changes in your lifestyle and feel, but we all are at different places in our health journey. And some of us have like 40 years of baggage that we got to work some things through before we're going to get through to some of these things we want to happen. That's okay. But I want to say, I can't guarantee what's going to happen, except what I can guarantee is that you're going to be a different person in 4 weeks. You'll never be the same that you are today. That you are going to have the foundation for moving forward on your own and making decisions in 4 weeks. So, and you'll not be done after 4 weeks. This is a lifelong journey. Now, I hope I haven't scared anybody off. So, a little bit about me. I'm the culinary instructor for the community classes here. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I have a PhD in nutrition, so I tortured myself a little longer. I do community outreach for Unity Point Health, so you might see me out giving presentations at health fairs, that kind of thing, so occasionally in the media. But I'm here as a health enthusiast because I practice what I encourage others. I'm not perfect, but I live and breathe this stuff, and I really believe in it. My dad passed away 2.5 years ago with 23 stents in him. He had open heart bypass at age 48 young. He did live to 78 years, but his last 10 years were pretty yucky. So I don't want that. My mom is remarried. She's 82, and she just finished 2 weeks ago a full week of rafting in the Colorado River. Okay, that's not easy stuff, guys. Okay, and it's pretty hot there, I guess, right now. I didn't do it with her. So she traveled to New Zealand, Australia at the beginning of this year. So, she survived 5 cancers. So she's not on any meds now. She's beyond that. So, so I want to live like my mom. The minute that she was diagnosed with her first breast cancer, age 52 young, she changed her whole lifestyle. My dad, nothing. He didn't change anything. Okay. He was a great guy, but he didn't change anything. So my mom became a yoga instructor at 72 young. So, that's my role model. I have both of those that I can make my choices with. So I have the genes, but I don't put my genes for these chronic diseases in an environment they thrive. There's a big myth that your genes are going to determine your health. It's a very small percentage, guys, really small. Most everybody with any genetic component can still override it if they put themselves in the right environment. Now, I might be diagnosed with heart disease someday. Okay, but I know if I am, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to fight it like heck. And, I know I've done as much as I can to put it off. So as long as I can. Okay, now your time's very valuable. I'm going to do as much as I can to share and make it worth your time here. This is more than just cutting edge information recipes. We do a lot of behavior integration in here so that you not only learn it, but you live it. So I don't know if you noticed, I have somebody helping me here. So I'd like Tanya, my assistant, to step up here and tell you a little bit about her.
Some of you guys may recognize me from the cardiac treatment unit. I am down there in the morning. I come up to pulmonary and cardiac rehab in the afternoon. And then I help Teresa with this fine class. So you guys get the luxury of having me sit over here and take your attendance. And usually we make some jokes and, you know, keep the life going of the party here. So if you guys have any questions, certainly ask either one of us. But my dad also passed away of congestive heart failure here 2 years ago. So it's been something that's brought me to cardiology. So hopefully we can stop that from happening to anybody else, because it's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. Okay. I do have a gift for you. After you attend 4 classes, I have a menu with 5 days of plant-based eating menus with recipes from the classes. So I'm not a big advocate of menu planning, but I get requests all the time. But the idea is it's meant to inspire you how to put it together. So because what I like is maybe not going to be the same as what you're going to like. So that's why menus sometimes don't work the best. So, but you'll get that so that you can get inspired how to put these things together. Okay. So there's 4 principles that I always share at every single class series that I do, because whether I'm seeing somebody in a group setting or individual, these are 4 things that must happen. I find them consistent. If you're going to make this really sustainable change, these are 4 things you have to adopt. First thing is have an open mind. Have an open mind. I kind of think like a scientist. Try and put aside some of those ideas of those foods that you've been avoiding or you've heard or had bad experience with. I ask that you try things so that you just never know what's going to work out. So you discover many gifts just by being open-minded to it. So tonight we're going to have a vegetable that a lot of people are unfamiliar with or have had a bad experience with. So I just ask that you try so that you have an open mind. You just never know. It's kind of like the clothes and the clothes rack. You try something, somebody says, try this. You're like, no, that's not me. And then you try it on, you're like, wow, I can do this. So just an open mind. You're going to discover so many gifts. Second thing is take baby steps. Baby steps. So this is about progress. Like I said, you're on a health journey. And this for many people is the hardest part of making lifestyle changes. Baby steps. I want you to think about what is the next healthier step you can do, not healthiest. What's the next healthier step you can do? This is really hard for those overachievers out there, okay? Because normally what we do in work and school is we go, okay, just tell me what I need to do. I'm just going to push and go for it. I'm just going to stay up all night. I'm going to impress the boss. There's the deadline. You go for it. That's not lifestyle, guys. Lifestyle needs to happen in the backdrop. Okay, it gets exhausting when you try and change all kinds of things. And it really just doesn't stick. We really find it doesn't, guys, for the long term. Just progress, not perfection. There's another dietitian that I love, I've worked with before. She's in another part of the country, and she said, keep your eyes on your own paper. Don't look at other people's. So this is your journey, your thing. Okay, don't compare. That steals the joy of this. So we had a gentleman that went through and he dropped his cholesterol 100 points just through diet. He said, this was the second time through. And he said the hardest part was the baby steps. The baby steps, especially if you're an overachiever. It just really needs to happen. You need to hardly feel like you're making a change. Okay, just if it feels like you're not making a change, but you are, it's just barely, that's where you want to be. I want you to be able to crush it on your worst day. If next week you end up like blizzard coming into your life, I want you to be able to still do this. Crush it on your worst day. Can you do that? We have a whole bunch of very successful people in business out there that are very unhealthy because they don't understand. They can't use the same approach with lifestyle. Okay, self-compassion is the third thing. Self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Self-compassion is the ability to be a cherished friend to yourself. When things go awry, like you forget an ingredient, or you were gonna fix a meal at home and you end up grabbing to go or go through a fast food, you got the wrong product at the store, you get home, you're like, oh, I got the wrong thing, the label doesn't match what she said. It's gonna happen, guys. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna get frustrated for a second and then move on. What is the gift? What is the learning here? What can I take with me? The cookies tonight, were born out of not having an ingredient. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't have applesauce to put in here. What am I gonna put instead? Greek yogurt, let's try it. They're better. They're better because of it, okay? So just be open for that. Self-compassion. Don't berate yourself. Stop judging yourself harshly. So just, you can for a moment go, oh gosh, that happened. I'm frustrated. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Okay, deep breath. What can I learn? What can I learn? I know there's a learning in here. Okay, it's going to come back at you if you don't learn again. Okay, that's my experience been. And, expect challenges, expect screw ups, just expect it. But you're going to progress forward. That's the main thing. Keep moving forward. We are wired to overeat. We're wired for negativity. Okay, so that's going to make it a little harder, but you can still do this. Just hang in there. Last thing is have fun. So this is, like I talked about, something you're going to be doing for time. So if you're going to do it for a lifetime, make it fun. Okay, you got to figure out what fun is for you. You might have noticed I have here, okay, this is water, okay? So you can put water in a fancy glass. At home, I've got some of those really tall wine glasses. I put water in it and just sit at the table. You can drop a raspberry in there, a lemon slice or something. I do candles at dinner. Candles, even with my 19-year-old son, because I want to make it special, because it is. So you can do things like when you're prepping in the kitchen, listen to podcasts, listen to books on tape, playlist. Okay, the rule in our house is whoever's in the kitchen can blast as loud as they want. If it's my 27-year-old, she's got the podcast going. She has a whole slew of podcasts. If it's a 21-year-old, she's got her playlist music going. So just, make it fun for you. Invite somebody along. After class, call a friend up and share what you're learning. So make it fun. There's all kinds of things you can do. Okay, so last thing is a mindset shift. This is a bonus. So instead of saying, I should do this, I need to do this, how about I choose to, or I get to? I choose to come to class on Thursday nights. I choose to eat my vegetable, all of it. I get to. Try it on the dishes too. It works. It helps. It lifts a little bit of the weight off. But start watching that in your mind. Take away those shoulds and have tos. You are choosing to do this. Okay, so I want to hear from you now. So I've covered some key principles here, a lot of stuff. Now, what is your one takeaway? So those of you at home, send it in the chat. Those of you here, your blue sticky, write it on there. What is your one takeaway so far? So I'll give you a second to think about that. Oh, Barb, are you making stuff from the class already? No? Okay. Okay. She's got a big smile on her face. We were just wondering. So awesome. Awesome. Okay. So Tanya is going to go around and pick up the stickies here, and she's watching the stickies there. The comments coming in, and we're going to put together a board here. So no names on it. We just want your takeaway. So, and we're going to collect them, and we're going to send you everybody what everybody's takeaway was. Okay. So we'll do that. So what are some of the takeaways coming in? You guys send them in the chat. Go ahead and send them in the chat, or take yourself off mute. Feel free. Committing to myself to attend class and practice. Be kind to myself on the journey. Awesome. Actively choosing to be healthier. Awesome. Making it fun. Yes. Okay. Anybody here want to share what they put down? Yes, Carol.
Well, you came here for my husband who has CHF,
Mm-hmm.
so now I want to do it for myself.
Oh, Carol. Oh, that warms my heart. Okay, others. Yes.
Choose.
You what?
You said one word, choose.
Choose. If you can, it's magical, that one change. Others. Okay. So Tanya's going to pick those up. I'm going to move on to what happens for heart disease so that you understand what to pay attention to. So heart disease is not as simple as step 2, step 3, step 4, heart attack. Okay. So there's all kinds of things that kind of happen. But there's some things some trends to it. So, okay, we're going to start off with cholesterol. So cholesterol is talked about a lot when we talk about heart health. So we actually need cholesterol. It's actually part of every single cell in your body. Now, let me repeat that. It's part of every single cell in your body. Wow. So we actually need a good amount of cholesterol, okay? So it doesn't dissolve in water. It's hydrophobic. So your body does this amazing thing, and it puts it in a package called a lipoprotein. Now, you've probably heard of these lipoproteins. One's called LDL, low density lipoprotein. It's a package for the cholesterol. Then there's HDL, high density lipoprotein. So they have different components and different roles in the body. So LDL, its job, that lipoprotein, is to deliver cholesterol to your body, all the different parts of your body. That makes sense. It's made in the liver, and then it's delivered throughout the body. HDL comes behind LDL in the bloodstream in a way and looks for remnants of LDL. These remnants, because when it's delivering, it's working, it leaves off little pieces in the bloodstream, and the HDL is looking for it to sweep it up because those remnants can be oxidized easily. And oxidized is not a real great thing when we're talking your arteries. So your HDL is sweeping, cleaning up, and takes the cholesterol on board that it grabbed back to the liver, and it's excreted or repurposed. So there's this really nice balance that happens. Oh my goodness, it's time for, okay.
I'm
so,
Vanna.
She's Vanna. So, okay, so here are the takeaways. So have fun, experiment, make cooking fun, keep a positive mindset. It's a journey. Be kind to myself. When work is busy, I can still make healthy choices. Oof. Actively choosing to be healthier. Well, love it. Yes. Committing to myself to attend classes and practice being kind to myself on this journey. Yes, those are big ones. Making it fun, focus on baby steps. They add up. They really do. Choosing to have a health revolution for myself. Ooh, somebody's good with words. By eating healthy and living healthy. I can choose to make healthy choices. Enjoy the process, embrace the progress, get active. Okay to substitute if ingredient is not available for recipe. Yes, we're going to get into that. Choose, make it a choice for a lifetime. I choose to do this. to make this for life. So we got the, oh, awesome. And delete sugars, drink more water. Okay, awesome. Somebody's already reading my mind. Love it. Great ones there. And I think there was one that be kind to self when work is busy. I can still make healthy choices. Okay, oh, you added that. Okay, thank you. She's so on top. Okay. Yes, love Tanya. She's so great. Okay, so we've got this really nice balance of the LDL and the HDL. But there's a couple of things that you need to know. LDL comes in two different types. Okay, the LDL, the one that you hear about, like, oh, you need to get that one lower. So, okay, there's two different types. There's a big fluffy LDL lipoprotein, and then there's a small dense. Okay, can you guess which one is the one that we don't want? Small dense. Okay, the small dense, there's a couple different reasons why. The small dense, if you can think of your blood as it's flowing throughout your body, okay? Your blood flows like 60,000 miles through your body, about 100,000 times a day. So you can see there's pretty good flow of blood going throughout at all times. It doesn't sit still. Well, the small dense LDL actually are so dense that they don't get caught in this kind of wave of your blood circulating. It sinks. It's that dense. Whereas the LDL is big fluffy, they just kind of, float along with the blood flow there. The small dense, they sink and they get in trouble, okay? They aren't what I call worker bees. Your big fluffy, oh my goodness, they're really great at delivering cholesterol, keeping to their job. But the small dense, they're kind of akin to a bunch of junior high kids let out in the hallways with nothing to do. Okay, imagine it. Okay, it'd be like shuffling. We'd have injuries, and that's exactly what happens. We get injuries, and they get in trouble. So they don't do their work, and that's the small dense. So when we get lots of small dense, those are ones that contribute very, very clearly to the plaque buildup. Okay, so that's where things get out of, and we tend to see when we have higher LDL, we tend to see some of those small dense. You don't usually have one or the other, you have a combination. We want most all the big and fluffy. A couple other things that I want to point out, but in order to point these out, I need you to put on your imagination hat. Okay, so everybody got their imagination hat on? So, okay, so I've got some props here. So, okay, let's imagine this is your artery, okay? Pool noodle, about 1,000 times bigger than your artery. Artery, is like hose throughout your body, taking the blood. So now in your artery, we've got layers in there, okay? And one layer that's really key, if you start reading and going nerdy on this, is called the endothelial layer. It's the inner lining there, and it's really thin. It's a really great roll, but it's really thin. And I like to think of it like pantyhose. Okay, so now this should be on the inside because I'm talking about the inside of your artery, but you wouldn't see it then. So let's just pretend the pantyhose on the inside. So you don't have to have worn pantyhose to know it's fragile. Okay, and that's what I want you to think of for this endothelial layer. It's really fragile. And what can happen is lifestyle factors can nick it, make nicks in it, okay? So if you want to think of lifestyle factors, kind of like sandpaper going against your pantyhose, okay? What's going to happen? Hayden, what's going to happen if I rub pantyhose over this? It's going to scratch it, yes. So we're going to get like holes like this. So that's going to happen. So what are lifestyle factors? Stress, high blood pressure, high LDL, high blood sugar, smoke, any type of smoke. I need to specify this for those under 30. Triglycerides, high triglycerides. Okay, these can all possibly nick. And that is kind of ish the start in easiest terms of the plaque buildup, because once we have a nick, we have to have a nick for the next steps to happen. And that is the small dense LDL becomes oxidized and they come in there. and they throw a party. They invite other people along. Okay. So then we start to get a buildup, and we start to also, that buildup is kind of like a pimple that's on the inside of the artery. And when you get a pimple, your body is going to have an inflammatory response. It's going to go, we've got an injury. We need to heal. So it sends a kind of a brigade of different products in your body there that make it bigger, that just kind of join the party. So you've got this response that's supposed to be a normal healing response that ends up not working for you, but against you, because you start getting this plaque buildup at that nick. Now, this takes a while. And so this starts building up and building up. And we say you can have plaque in your arteries. Plaque is anything it's that layer that's building up in the inside here. So it's making it thinner, yes, but you can have soft or hard plaque. You're going to have soft plaque in the beginning stages. And then when you get calcium added in there and some other things, it gets hard. Most heart attacks actually happen with soft. Here's why. And I'm not saying hard is good. Okay, that's not my point. I'm just saying soft, unstabilized plaque is really dangerous for heart attacks, because what happens is you got this soft layer. Kind of think of like if you got an owie on the outside here, like a really good scratch, and it's scabbing up really big, you're feeling like, oh gosh, I hate that. And then you pull it and you peel it, okay? Because you're like, it's bugging me. I just want to get it off the bumpiness. So you peel it back, but then you're like, you didn't peel it all the way back. You're like, oh gosh, I should have done that. So then you put it down. Okay, so now you're putting it down. If this was happening inside your artery, that's what happens. Your body takes that kind of pimple pus, soft plaque that's built up, and it will peel it back with the pressure that's going on there, but it won't come off. It'll just be peeled back, which of course kind of closes things off a little bit more, possibly. A bit might break off, but what's really worse is this peels back and your body goes, oh, there's a horrible wound there, and sends all kinds of troops there. And now it gets really big. The response to soft plaque that has ruptured is oftentimes worse than the original soft plaque. So it builds up and it eventually will block the artery. So you might have a piece that breaks off, and yes, we don't like that. But what really causes the problem usually is this piece that breaks off. It kind of sticks up, and then your body comes in there and says, oh my goodness, I got to do something about this. But it makes it worse. 610. Okay. So, okay. Can we put the salmon in? I have two pans there. Just be careful with the baking sheet one, because it should be fine. But so bottom line. Okay.
Just dump whatever.
It's okay.
Down my shirt.
Oh, sorry. I tried to put that.
Told you, I like the party here, folks.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Okay, paper towel time.
Wear an apron. That's my takeaway from today.
Okay, so what do we need to pay attention to in diet? Saturated fat. Saturated fat, in general, we'd say 10 grams, no more than that. It's not that your body can't handle a little, but a lot your body just never had before. So we usually say 10 grams to keep it to. No trans fat, that's really not per se in our supply. If you get French fries from fast food that have been fried 20 times over, you probably have some trans fat. But for the most part, that's not in the label something. So the other thing is sugar. Sugar, when your body gets a bolus or injection of sugar from the food, this was never something it experienced prior to 50 years, 20 years ago. Your body freaks out. It really doesn't know what to do. It's kind of like all alarms go. And your body says, gosh, what should I do? Okay, let me just convert it to triglyceride and then let me pack it around my middle for a rainy day. That's what it usually does. So it's not that sugar is evil. It's just we, in our like thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, have never had these amounts of sugars before. And our body doesn't know what to do. It really is not prepared to. So, and what it does when you get an influx of sugar is it converts it to triglycerides. Triglycerides are just a name for fat in your body. They're in the bloodstream, and then they're packed as belly fat, usually when we're over 40 or over. So, so that's not healthy, as you know. So what else? For those are both true for LDL and HDL, okay? To raise your HDL, because we want HDL higher, because that's the one that cleans up, and we want the LDL to be lower and to be the big fluffy kind. So the other factor that I want to mention is triglycerides. Triglycerides are important that we have it low, not none. We want it to be under 150. I like it under 100, but most of your charts say 150. How you can keep that lower is fish, which we're making today. Fish, okay, get my point? And also sugar there, and not eating more than what you need calorically. When you're overeating consistently, then we find your triglycerides are high. So those are the main things in our diet. So I'm gonna skip the slides because I normally show some slides, but I want to get cooking. I also want to give you a chance to think about your takeaway right now, because I've talked about kind of the heart healthy component. So go ahead and send me in the chat what your takeaway is for heart health, and go ahead and use the yellow sticky to write, those of you in the room here, your takeaway for heart health. I want to just kind of expand while you're thinking about that. When we talk about fats, I said to watch the saturated fat, okay? I did say no fat, notice, and I'm not an advocate for no fat or like getting as close to zero. Okay, now I'm not saying get carried away with it, but what I'm saying is start thinking about using what we call quality fats, and that would be avocado, nuts, and extra virgin olive oil. Those are my three go-tos, okay? And we will talk a little bit about extra virgin olive oil today, but it needs to be extra virgin olive oil.
Do you want to have them?
Yes, can you put them in your chat? So what you've learned from what your takeaway, what your big takeaway is, just, one thing from heart health that I just spoke about, like the arteries and the nicking and stuff like that. So quality fats. I want you to know that. I'm not saying no fat. Now, fats are calorically dense, and they don't have usually as much nutrients with them as some other things that we'll talk about bringing in. So, it's something you don't want to go crazy and have half what you're intaking to be avocados. I had avocados last night. I probably have avocados 4 times a week at least. So, but I don't eat a whole avocado. I eat a little bit, have an accent of food, that kind of thing. So nuts, I have almost every day in a salad and in my oatmeal. So I have it in things. I don't sit there and go, okay? So, but I do want you to understand the role of fat. So the other thing is eating whole foods, eating vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and we're going to give you lots of options, and your binder has some charts too that we'll go over in subsequent classes. But just start thinking about, can you even just move what you're eating to a higher percentage of whole foods? Even that alone is going to make a huge change in your health. So I want to get going. So, yes. Okay. So Tanya's working on it. So this is our new thing, this takeaway kind of sticky thing. So she's going to work on it, and she'll gather them up. You can just put your sticky out there like you did, and she will grab that. And we're going to get started with my secret vegetable. So anybody figure out what my secret vegetable is?
Brussels sprouts?
No? Oh, I love Brussels sprouts roasted. Yes.
Kale.
Kale. Yes. So here is my fabulous secret vegetable. So we are going to make apple Dijon kale salad. It is absolute. I am so excited to have some tonight, although there's probably not going to be any leftovers. So, but I make this all the time. So it actually stays easily for 4 days. Now, on the 4th day, I probably won't serve it to guests, but I'll eat it. It still tastes great. So now the magic happens because we're using kale in a way to bring out its strengths. So the problem with kale, first of all, it is bitter. Okay. So alone, that bitterness is strong for a lot of people. So we're going to match it with some big flavors. Also, it's bristly. The texture of it is bristly. So eating this raw is kind of uncomfortable. So we're going to soften it up and make it more like romaine. Okay. And then the other thing is we're going to make it milder. We're going to make it less bristly. And then we're going to brighten up its color. So it's a nice kind of side effect that happens with what we do. So the first thing is kale, when you get it in the store, you can revive it with cold water. If it has brown spots, don't get it. But if it doesn't have brown spots and it just looks sad, you can usually with cold water revive it. So sometimes I'll look at it, I'm like, it's fine. I'll take it home and I'll put it in a bin of ice cold water. It'll come back. So you can actually store it in the refrigerator like this to bring it back. Now we wanted, the stem is the most bitter part. So we want to get it separated from the stem. I also want, let me switch my camera here for everybody at home. So let me see here. I'm going to switch to because I'm going to get talking and I'm going to forget. So you can see my hands. So we're going to switch to the room camera. There we go. Okay, so you can see, there we go. Okay, so now Sherry and Kathy, you're in danger, but I am going to destem this, okay? So I'm going to get off the backbone here. The easiest way is just take your thumb and first finger there and just like that, okay? So it's just really, it doesn't always work this smoothly, but usually it does like that. Okay, did you get wet? Okay. So it looked like it sprayed. So it's a lot of fun. So you want to get that off and then we chop it or tear it up. And I don't scrunch it like this, but kind of like this. 7 cups is what I use for this recipe, roughly a half a pound. I don't weigh it usually. So, so here I've got actually a double recipe. So we got 14 cups here. So we're going to make the dressing in order to break it down some and make it a little softer and a little milder. So I'm just going to put the dressing here in my mason jar. It's just really easy. I'm going to use jarred garlic. That's an option to use if you're beginning in the kitchen to make things and you haven't for a while. I highly recommend getting jarred garlic. It just makes things go quicker. It's important that we think about time. Okay. Oh my goodness, look at all this. So we've got wear an apron, okay, and wash my shoes before going home, okay. Quality over quantity. Love that. Understanding the differences, HDL and LDL, and impacting factors. Was surprised about sugar. Saturated fat, 10 grams per day. Yes, per day, not meal. Thank you for asking that. That's all your drinks, beverages, snacks, and meals. Quality in diet, eat fish. Fats can be positive. Avocado, for example, eat what your body needs. Yes. Everything is scary and heart attacks suck. Yes. LDL, bad news. Limit cholesterol, sugar. Yes. Okay. Lower your LDL and raise your HDL. Yes. Eat the right kind of fats. Eat less saturated fats and sugar. Eat less sodium to keep blood pressure down. I didn't talk too much about sodium. Thank you for bringing that up. Did not realize how sugar is dispersed in our body. Scary. Yeah. Moderate saturated fats. And eat more fish, quality fats. Not all fats are bad. Sugar affects triglycerides. Didn't know this or remember this. The difference between LDL and HDL, Knowing we need cholesterol and how we can manage it. Yes, we need it. I need to focus on reducing the amount of sugar that our family consumes. Too much sugar. Yes, awesome. Okay, good, good. Ask questions, guys, too. So if I, cover something and you have a question, let me know. So this is extra virgin olive oil for the dressing. So here's a brand that is truly extra virgin olive oil. There's a lot of fraud. And so I'll talk more about that, but this is a brand that's fairly reasonable. Kirkland has extra virgin olive oil that is truly extra virgin olive oil. The problem is people are labeling it extra virgin olive oil and it's not. You can go to COOC.com. It's the California Olive Oil Council, COOC.com, and look for a list for last year because they never have a list up for this year. For last year to find companies, and they're going to be big companies, guys. That's the problem because you have to pay to get your olive oil tested, then to get on the list. So, but most of the olive oils in Walmart and Hy-Vee are not going to be on the list, and they're not good. Okay. Yes. Question.
So, what exactly is extra virgin oil? What makes it extra virgin?
Oh, thank you.
What is the significance?
Yes, awesome. Okay, so extra virgin olive oil means it's mechanically pressed. Other oils are chemically and deodorized to get them down to their bland kind of oil condition. Most every oil on the shelf is chemically processed and deodorized. Deodorized means take all the flavor out. That's more versatile for a manufacturer. And many manufacturers outside of olive oil are taking, soybeans and canola oil kind of stuff, and they're using kind of leftover parts and deodorizing them so they can then bottle them up and put them on the shelf. Okay, so mechanically pressed is important because we preserve some of the things that come in the olive from the olive tree. Not just the structure that you learn in science, but squalene. And there's some things that begin with an O that are antioxidants and help prevent in heart disease and in cancer things. So olive oil is actually extra virgin is very rich in a lot of good stuff for us. And we actually have research that extra virgin olive oil can help lower your LDL in a good way. Okay, now that doesn't mean eating a quarter cup at meals. It means just having it and keeping a good weight and being physically active. But when we look at like Greece, where they have, trees growing in their backyard, and even France has a lot of olive trees. They just don't export it to us. All these countries, they have it so fresh. I went to a restaurant in Europe that they would pick it off their tree and squeeze it and use it that day. So it's amazing. Whereas ours are like 18 months old. Okay. So, and a lot of times they're a mixture of old, new, sometimes not even olive oil in it. And sometimes it's like chemically processed. So yes, question. I would look for the processing. Look to see if it's mechanically. Avocado would be great. Here's my catch. It's a little more expensive. Is it a good type? Yes, if it was mechanically pressed. Awesome. And they would say that if it was. It'd say cold pressed or mechanically pressed.
On the bottle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But I probably won't use it because I'm just using the extra virgin olive oil by the time the expiration date's over. So, but if I had a gourmet kitchen with endless financial budget, I have avocado. Mechanically pressed there. So yes, I get that a lot. The avocado is great. Canola in theory would be great. I am using 2 tablespoons in the cookies today because it's bland. Okay. But I wouldn't use it like I use my virgin olive oil. Okay. So because it's chemically deodorized. So it originally was a great plant source, but the processing I'm not crazy about. Great questions. Okay, I'm going to add some apple cider vinegar there. It adds a nice flavoring. Plus, we need that to break down the tail a little bit there. I'm going to add just a touch of black pepper here, ground up fresh, and just, I've got the small holes here. I'm just going to do a little shake there. So just a teeny bit of salt, not evil, but we just want to keep it drawn back. I haven't talked too much about that. So, okay, I've got all my ingredients here, so I'm just going to shake it. I'm going to do it over the sink just in case. Okay, every once in a while, these plastic lids are not as strong as I think they are. Okay, so now I'm just going to put a little bit on here. Not quite all of it, but then here's the key. What am I doing? Am I mixing or what am I doing? Massaging. Yes, oh, I'm making a mess too. So you see, I don't know if you can tell now how it's even turning darker green. What's happening actually is I am bursting the bubbles at the right at the surface there, and when the air is gone, then it turns a darker green. It's always been there. It's just we're not seeing it. So I'm also the acid and the mechanically breaking it down. I could just sit here and do this for like 10 minutes with just the leaves, and it would break it down. But it's quicker with the acid in there. So plus, this is just a great way of getting the dressing. So and it's great to work out your stress. So I highly recommend it. So okay, so I am going to add my toppings here just a little bit, and then add some on top. So we've got sour apple. I don't normally snack on green apples. I don't really love them, but they're great in here as a match for kale. Kale's bitter. Sour, sweet is really good with it. Walnuts are really good too. Walnuts have a teeny bit of bitterness on the outside. Ever taste one and pay attention? It is. It's a really good match. Plus, super heart healthy. Super. I have it on my oatmeal, probably a third a cup every morning on my oatmeal. So raisins there. Add just a texture, a little sweetness. Raisins, something probably we don't want to snack on regularly, like just by the handful, but it's fine to have as an accent. I'll use raisins or cranberries as a little accent. So we're just going to toss that up there, and then I'm going to just sprinkle on the rest on top so we all get some on there, and look how pretty that is. Ta-da! So this is super easy. Is this something you could do? Yeah, I did toss the apples with a little bit of lemon juice, so I cheated there that way, so they wouldn't go. I don't know if you know, Fuji apples don't turn brown. That's what I snack on. I love them. They're sweet and crispy, and they stay for several hours without turning because they don't have the enzyme that turns them brown. So sometimes I'm just like not in the mood for a full apple. I'm like, okay, I just need a little something. So then I'll have the Fuji apple. Thank you. Okay, so that I opened mine, guys. Kale. You know, I was a Wendy's girl back in the 80s. You know, I had to like restock with kale. The salad bar was torture. I never would imagine that I'd be teaching people about kale, but it really is a great vegetable, and it's robust. It stays for several days. It doesn't kind of get soggy like a romaine or a spinach would if you did this. You can, you know, I'll make this and eat off of it for 3 or 4 days. Just eat a big serving of it every day. The kids are welcome to have it. They don't really fight me for it, which is fine by me. So I have 4 kids. So 3 are young adult kids. 1 is my God's plan. She's still at home. Here we go. Okay, we are going to do the apple salad. So we're going to do the dressing. So real quick, so we're doing perfect in time. So this is apple mustard dressing. So this is a dressing that's strong. It's got mustard, it's got garlic, a little bit of sweet tang in there. So this is great for your stronger vegetables. What are your stronger vegetables? Your taste-wise. Brussels sprouts, yes. Cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, yes. Kale, yes. All those are all cruciferous that we're naming there. So yes, those are stronger. They've got that bitterness in them. That's part of their wonderful property. So this is a real easy. We're using 2 different mustards here. We're using Dijon. Just look for the lowest sodium Dijon. Culinary Tours somewhere, the Hy-Vee around here stopped stocking it, the Dijon, but that was the lowest. Usually the wine one is kind of the lowest one. So we're using that, and then we're using a stone ground. This has 0 sodium. Now you can't get this around here. You have to special order it, but be thankful you don't have to special order 12 of them at once, because 2 years ago, that was the way you had to go. I ordered them and people ended up getting them for Christmas because I did not go through 12. So, so we're going to use that strong. That's a really good flavor. If you like mustard, I highly recommend getting this. And it's a great match for your stronger vegetables. Mustard is always a good go-to. So we're going to put that together and then just use garlic and oregano as garlic powder, not garlic salt, of course. And here with the tones, the oregano, the ground, one of the tricks with tones is it has a string. It's like invisible, but it's there. If you catch it, you can try and unwrap it. But usually I just try and unwrap a little bit of the label, and then you can turn it, and then you can get it off. Because it's much easier to measure your half teaspoon and teaspoon from this. So only the tones you can do this with. So we're going to add that in there. And then our kind of different ingredient, but you're all familiar with it, is apple juice concentrate. So apple juice concentrate is not magic, guys. Okay, I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression. It's sugar. It's sugar. So I didn't dilute it. I just thawed it out and put it in here. And I made a double recipe. So it's half a cup is the recipe. I'm going to put in a whole cup. It's just a better flavoring than table sugar. It's a teeny bit less processed than table sugar. So you still want to be aware that it is sugar in there. This, of course, we're not drinking this. We're just using a tablespoon or brushing it maybe on the fish. I've had a lot of participants in class just brush it on fish, cook it, eat it kind of thing. You can dip your vegetables. You can use it as a salad dressing. It's got punch. Okay, so you don't want to do this on a mild vegetable. So, you could do tomato, but tomato is a little more milder. It would overpower it. It's just better for your cruciferous, your stronger vegetables. So that's super easy. This will keep for 7 days. You can freeze it. This here, you do want to use it within like a week. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Vinegar, could be wine. There's going to be stuff growing on it. Okay. There's going to be some stuff you don't want on the top. So you can, some people tell me that they will freeze this and just scoop it out. I don't know. My freezer doesn't work that way. I usually just put this in ice cubes and then pop out the ice cubes. Then I have it ready. I can just flavor up, make this, So it's a nice little flavoring to have around apple juice concentrate. Again, it is sugar. So I don't want anybody to misunderstand the point. Okay. So we're going to make, I'm going to talk about the cookies. So cookies I made ahead. Let's see, I got them in the refrigerator too. So I made them ahead to make sure we have plenty for everybody to eat. Yes, I'm sure it's fine. You can just you can maybe probably leave it in the oven. Just leave it in the oven. It's fine. Okay. So, and we can turn it on. It'll be fine. So these cookies have only 2 tablespoons. It's kind of like a Toll House cookie with oatmeal added, but only 2 tablespoons of oil, only 1 egg, and I used yogurt, Greek yogurt in there that was able to cut back on the fat there, and I used quick oats. So quick oats are basically old-fashioned oats chopped a little bit, okay? So if you're wondering which is better, old-fashioned or quick, they're pretty close. I use old-fashioned because I really can't, it doesn't seem to take longer for me to cook it in the microwave, but quick oats are just chopped a little more. That's why it's a little quicker. When you get down to instant oats, that's a no-no, okay? Instant oats, they add salt to make it quicker. And then they like to add things like brown sugar and all kinds of flavoring to it, maple syrup and stuff like that. So if you don't have quick oats, just chop your old-fashioned oats. Now, if your blender makes it into a flour, reduce the amount to 3/4 cup, okay? So it will work, but it's just going to be more compact. You don't want to do a full cup in the recipe there. So you just drop them on the pan and cook them. Now, if my original recipe had applesauce, and when they cooked, they kind of flattened and burnt pretty easily. I had to watch them really quickly. I'm telling you, these are just like regular batter, okay? The Greek yogurt, the acid in there helps the baking soda in there. So it helps it in the cooking. And so it works really well. So if you want to try it in other things, baked products, you can try it like in biscuits or something like that. I wouldn't substitute all the oil, but you could definitely cut back. So you just drop them, cook them, and then you've got voila, cookies. So now these are cookies. They're a treat. They are not a meal. And 2 are, the kind of serving. I will make a batch and just put it in the freezer. Don't put them on the counters, okay? Because you're gonna, you're setting yourself up. So give them away, but just, they're a nice thing. I put them out in the outside. I have an outside freezer, so I'll put them in the outside freezer. So I have to make the trip all the way to the garage. So, and I'll just, take 1 or 2. So it's just a real nice way to have a little, sweet when you're in the mood. So, or you can bring it for things because you know what? Nobody's going to know. I think so. You be the judge. So we've got plenty of cookies for you guys to take here. Okay, so it's time to do salmon. So let's do fish. So a little more about fish. Fish has has omega-3s in them. Omega-3s are a type of fatty acid. In particular, we're looking for DHA and EPA in fish. They're not in plants. Walnuts and flaxseed and chia seed have ALA, a different omega-3. Still good for you, but not the same as what we find in fish. So fish has the most out of anything that we have in our food supply of these kind of really magical omega-3s. Now, you might be thinking, why don't I just take an omega-3 supplement? Well, talk to your doctor about that. We don't see quite the same result. I'm not saying not to. The other problem with supplements, period, is that there's so much fraud because there's no regulation. So you got to make sure you're going with a brand that's been tested by a third party. So so talk with your doctor, but really we know that having 1 serving of fish a week reduces your risk of heart attack by close to 20%. It goes up to 40% when you have 2 times a week. So any fish is good except for your older, bigger fish like swordfish, shark. They're older, thus they've eaten a lot more baby fish, thus they have more mercury. So, and then tuna kind of falls in there too, unfortunately. So your albacore tuna is a little better. But I really just keep tuna reserved for the fancy restaurants, which is kind of way in a blue moon. So I love tuna, but because of the mercury, I just keep it really, really rare. So salmon doesn't have the mercury as much. So salmon is what we call, yes.
I was just wondering, could you explain the difference between like farm-raised salmon and Atlantic cod salmon?
Okay, so yes, so that's a great question. So in general, I will recommend that whichever works for you. Ideally, again, if I had unlimited budget, I would go with Pacific Ocean. So Atlantic, not quite as good, but the fish farming industry has cleaned themselves up. Are they perfect? No, but they're better than they were. We find you're still getting a benefit there. So with 4 kids, I don't really get the Pacific fresh. So I do make sure I do get just plain salmon. It's usually frozen at Walmart. So I add my seasoning like we are tonight. It's very easy to do. I usually don't have the store do a pre-made thing because they're going to usually have a lot of salt in it. So this one is super easy. I usually make this every Christmas Eve. I make it probably twice a month too. It's just, it can be special. It can be great. So I just eat it a lot. So let's see. Can you grab this salmon out of the refrigerator? So, okay. So we got our salmon from Hy-Vee. Like I said, I normally get it from Walmart, but we got it from Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee has great salmon. If you get it from their counter, you can ask them to take the skin off if there's skin. It's not that hard to get the skin off. Some people like it on, some people like it off. I have one kid that likes it on, one that likes it off. It's whatever you prefer. Yes. We are going to pan sear this. One of the reasons we're going to pan sear is to get it to temperature. It's really important with fish, with viruses, to get it to temperature. Anybody know what that temperature is? Yes, I heard it. Somebody said it, 145. Yep, 145 for fish. Really important there. So you might see some fancy dancy chefs online that do a poached something rather, and they're probably not going to get it above 120. Not good. So that's why we're pan searing it, because it's really hard when you're using wine or lemon juice to get the temperature up. So, I want to, the salmon in particular, like I was saying, is a premium omega-3 fish. There's 5 that are super high in omega-3s. Now, all fish, halibut, tilapia, cod, all of those are great fish. Just, it's how you prepare them. Okay. So Friday fish fry. Baking, like we're doing here, poaching, pan searing, those are all great ways to go. But salmon and the other ones, they all spell out the word smash. So they are salmon, mackerel, anchovy, sardine, and herring. Okay. So if you're Scandinavian, you've got a step ahead. So I don't know. I'm Scandinavian. I don't know. Some of those I'm like, no, I really don't know how to make them really well. But if you do, and be open-minded, figure out ways. But those are the highest in omega-3. So, but again, any fish is way higher. We're talking, even your lowest fish are going to have like 400 to 500 a serving of omega-3s, whereas your omega-3 enhanced eggs, they're basically chickens that were fed fish or seaweed. They have like 30 to 50 milligrams of omega-3s. That's it. So fish is really the way to go. And cod liver oil, if you like down that, that's the other way. Norwegians tend to do that.
How many ounces of fish should you eat?
American Heart Association, 4 ounces is what they consider a serving. So twice a week. So I've had people say, well, what if I did it 5 times a week? I'm like, we don't have research on that it's like that much better. I'd say, if you love it and you have the means to have fish 3 times a week, okay, yeah. But I wouldn't really necessarily go beyond that. So, yeah.
Can you say this fish again?
Yes.
One of the
Yes. Salmon, mackerel, anchovy, sardine, herring. Okay. So first, I want to, yeah.
When you said 4 ounces, is that raw weight or the cooked?
Oh, really good cooked. Sorry, raw weight. So you guys have great questions. Okay, so for seasoning, all we need is lemon pepper, Mrs. Dash, or you can get it from Aldi's. It's a stone meal ground. So I know Kathy or Kay. Is it Kathy? Okay, you're going to be making your own. So, but you can make your own lemon pepper if you want to, because it's just basically a combination of several seasonings. So, and then we want to have a 1-to-1 ratio with some, let's just call it milder, more general blend. And this is just your table blend, maybe garlic blend, nothing with a lot of kick to it. This lemon pepper has some kick to it, okay? And I found that out because I love this recipe and I thought, why don't I just make it all with lemon pepper? So I did that and the kids were like, Mom, what'd you do? This is really strong. So I was like, okay, I really need to go back to that 1-to-1 ratio. So just make sure it's on the recipe. It's basically, I have it in my head. It's 1 fillet is a half a teaspoon of each of these. In general, you just kind of mix it up. And then I'm going to put it here. I usually use a pie plate. And then we're just going to rub the salmon fillets in there. And then we're going to cook it. So that's the beginning. So those are the seasonings that you need. That's all you need is those 2. So our fillet. Should get those. Oh, yay, yay.
Thank you.
Now, your salmon fillets, this one's pretty good. We do get a little thinner at the end. I mean, this is Mother Nature, that's fine. But if you have a real fat center there, you want to cut it, just trim it, okay? Because otherwise you're going to have trouble getting it to 145. And, if it's really drastically different, these aren't too bad. So, Let's see, should we touch the salmon? I didn't want to touch the salmon, sorry. I got to think this through a little bit. Yeah, you got to be careful with, raw meat at any time. So, because I want to get that pan going. Okay, now we can do nonstick olive oil. Make sure it's fully olive oil. You only wait. Sometimes it's diluted. I have gotten the wrong one at home and got. So make sure on the back, just read the ingredient list to make sure there's no palm in there. Just make sure it could be canola too, it's fine. But I am gonna actually use my trick I use at home, and that is I've used extra virgin olive oil. A couple of reasons. I love extra virgin olive oil. Second reason is because the sprays, there's nothing wrong with them, but they do degrade your pan a little quicker. And I'm very particular about my pans. So I'm just gonna put a little in there and then I just do this. Okay, so I'm not really using a tablespoon. I might have put a teaspoon to a tablespoon, but I just kind of work it around. So that's my kind of cheat way of using extra virgin, but not really enough to count. So we're gonna get that to, you want like a medium to medium high to start off. So I'm just going to just real easily, you can just press that down, get that. Nothing fancy dancy about this. Just make sure we have it. Put that there. Now you want it. Notice I have a small pan. I did that. If I was doing 3 fillets, I go up a pan, but you want the pan to be pretty compact for what you're doing because we're going to poach it. And we want the poaching liquid to kind of engulf it, to kind of come up on it. So if you have a really big saute pan, it's just going to thin out quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that, and I'm going to give that about, can you put, let's see, here's my timer. Let me just do this. I usually do about 7 minutes, but I'm going to call it 6 right now. So we just got started. There we go. So on one side, and then I'm going to flip it. So, and I will take the temperature. So, okay. Now the other part of this is the lemon and the wine. So the lemon, we're going to zest the lemon. So the zesting the lemon is really nice because we get the flavor of the lemon without the acid kind of in it. We get, it's just a really nice to have a touch to have that in addition to the juice. We are going to juice it. But for every fillet, I usually try and get close to a tablespoon. You know, it's not exact, but 1 lemon per fillet is usually what I do. So you just, here I have the zester. You can have, this is called a microplane zester. So we just rub that over, just move it. You just get off that first layer. Don't go down until it's really white, just a little lighter yellow there. And you don't have to get it perfect all the way around. You just want to get about a tablespoon. I have about 2 tablespoons for the 2 fillets there. And then we're going to squeeze 1 lemon. You can have a squeezer at home, or we can use just, if you've got tongs, we just put that in there and we can just squeeze it like that. Okay. So we want to get about 2 to 3 tablespoons per lemon. So for each fillet. So I'm going to get out my suit. There we go. So, okay. So I've already got these actually here. I've got my lemon there, and here I have my wine. Now let me show you my wine. You don't have to use wine, but it is a nice touch. This is just from Hy-Vee Barefoot. It's not my first choice for drinking. Not that I'm a wine snob, but this is just it's fine. I wouldn't call it a cooking wine. I would, I'd have a glass, but it's only like $5-6 for a bottle. Now, if you're like, Teresa, I don't drink wine at all, I'll never use the bottle, then, go to the liquor section and just ask the manager there. You just want like the airplane size. They may not have Barefoot, but whatever they have that's a Chardonnay, so white wine, just get that. Now, do you have to use wine? No. But here's the thing. Wine is, I'm going to lower the temperature. It's going to create a mist around it so that we're going to kind of interject the lemon around it. With the lemon is going to help that too, the lemon juice. So, and you're going to evaporate off the alcohol, not 100%. So if anybody is allergic to alcohol, you never ever do this dish. but you're not going to feel it. So it's to give the flavor. It gives a nice flavor. It really does. But again, you don't have to. You could just do like a chicken broth or a vegetable broth instead. It's going to be a little different. You still have the lemon juice. But hey, it's okay. You make it delicious. So however works for you. So, but about a quarter cup of wine per fillet is kind of the ratio. So 1 lemon, quarter cup of wine, half a teaspoon of 2 different seasonings here. That's it, guys. So that's the recipe. So you can multiply that. Now, speaking of multiplying, I have the 2 pans in there. So if you have a crowd to make it for, this is going to be a little intense to do just before the meal. So what you can do is you can pan sear it earlier in the day and put them in the baking pan. But what I do is I would then, on the baking pan, I would slice, get some extra lemons and set the fillets in the pan on the lemon, and then pour the poaching liquid after you've pan seared, got the 145-degree temperature, put them on the lemon slices, pour the poaching liquid, put the aluminum foil over, put it in the refrigerator. Now you've already gotten the viruses gone. You're at temperature. You're holding it at temperature in the refrigerator. You're good to go. All you need to do now is do some immersing of the lemon in it in a heated oven, 325, 350, half an hour minimum is all you need to bring it to temperature. It's not 145 you need to bring it to. You just need to immerse it with the lemon and the wine. So just keep it covered. And the cool thing is, you know what, if guests are late or you get chit-chatting and you don't get everything together on the table, you can go for an hour easily with that in the oven for 325, and it's not going to burn. It's still going to be great. So that's how you make it for a crowd. So now, one thing about this recipe, you notice one of the main ingredients is lemon, okay? And I love the flavor, but here's one of the things. It drove me crazy. I'm like, why is it like 80% of recipes for fish have lemon? There's got to be some reason why. Is it just nobody has imagination, or? So I finally dug and found out there is a real reason, and that is fish. If you've ever had people talk about, well, that fishiness about the fish I don't like. So it's probably what we call the amines in the fish. The amines in the fish are like ammonia in a way, and they give that fishiness, smell, taste to it. What lemon does is it changes chemically it to a salt, and not salt like the salt on the table, but to a salt. So it's no longer has that ammonia fishiness. So in the culinary world, they say it cleans the palate. And it does that not just from a flavor perspective, it does that by chemically changing it. So if you've got somebody that's like, well, I'm not real crazy about fish, maybe it's the fishy smell, flavor, and you could offer this recipe up for them, because I do find a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, I have always disliked salmon, but this one I could do. And I really think it's probably because of lemon. So if you have, when you're making fish, if you're not sure what to do, use lemon or lime. Lime will work too. So, fish is so easy, guys. When I put fish on the menu, I'm like, yes, easy night. So you can always bake it at like 350 for 15 minutes, a regular filet, so long as it's not too high. There's so many things, just a little flavor with it once you get it cooked through, and it's wonderful. You can make fish tacos. There's all kinds of things you can do with it. We're going to do salmon sushi bowls in a couple weeks. So we'll use canned salmon. So it's just really got a lot of great properties. Okay, so we're almost done with that. We're going to get our last recipe. Like, remember I said that the first time you make this recipe, it's going to be like 7 minutes. So all we need to do is grab, let's see, Tanya, if you can, oh, you're cleaning me up. I'm just going to throw these in then real quick. So I'm going to put this in the microwave. Okay, so what I did for those at home, I just grabbed cauliflower rice for the last recipe, the naked burrito bowl, and I put it in the microwave. Now, Green Giant is one of the brands that doesn't have salt added. Unfortunately, what's the other one? Bird's Eye adds salt. So Walmart has their brand without salt too. So, but check the label, make sure it says it's okay to put the bag in the microwave. Some of them you need to take it out and cook it. Now with cauliflower rice, cauliflower, is it a strong veggie or a mild veggie? It's strong. So what we're doing here is adding strong mates with it in the dish. You don't want to go really mild with it. That'd be ridiculous because you'd really taste cauliflower rice. The first time I made this, my son was 15. He's 19 now. He loves rice. He's a 6-foot skinny guy that eats me out of house and home. And he can down a whole batch of rice, like a whole batch. I have a rice cooker, a large rice cooker, and he can eat the whole thing. So I made this, and he ate it, and he thought it was rice. He thought it was rice. So he had no clue. So you'll know now, but you can eat it and not know because we're matching it with strong flavors. The big thing with cauliflower rice is if you overcook it, you're not going to burn it in the microwave. You don't burn it. But what you're going to do is you're going to release the juice out of the water, out of the rice, which is that sulfur. And that's going to be stronger. So if you do see that you've got some liquid that bursts out, drain it off before you start mixing in other things because it's going to be very strong. The other thing, you can roast cauliflower rice. That's a whole nother recipe, but just if you want to make the cauliflower rice so that it's like not even strong at all, roast it. It's fabulous. Okay, it shrinks a lot, but it's magical. It's like, wow, this is mild, this is beautiful. So but here we're just heating it, so we've got that strong flavor. So what we're going to do is I've got black beans here. I'm going to mix with a strong flavoring. This is a Mrs. Dash Chipotle, Southwest Chipotle. So I'm just going to mix the beans with that. I'll mix in the rice that are heated up. You don't have to like really heat the, I never started that. Why did I do that? Never start. Let me check my sermon and see if I've got it to temperature. Yep, we're to temp. So I'm going to take my poaching liquid, the wine, the lemon zest. I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to cover it for like 2 to 3 minutes. If I had higher heat, it'd probably steam up there and bubble up, but I didn't want to overcook I'll just put it a little bit higher there so we get it immersing around there. Just 2 minutes and it's done. So it's really done now. I just need to get the immersing around there. Okay, so I'm going to stir this. And the cauliflower rice is going to be hot, so that will heat this up fine. I'm going to add salsa. This is Linda's salsa mild. It's still got a little bit of kick. This is the lowest sodium one that we have, and it's great. It's only got 60 milligrams of sodium for 2 tablespoons. Most on the shelf are going to have like 100 to 200. So salsa is a vegetable. It's a nice flavoring to add to things, to find a jar one that's lower in sodium. So we're going to add that to it to give kick. So, and then we're going to add the cauliflower rice. And you can see here, I've got some accents, whatever you have around. If you have a lime, that's great to squeeze on there. Cilantro is a great flavoring to add to it. So, and next week, here's my cilantro. Next week, we're going to learn how to make cilantro stay for 20 days. So, so we're just going to mix that all together, and I'm going to let you add your lime and your cilantro. So we're going to put that, get that ready to paste there. But that's it. I'm just going to mix in the cauliflower rice. Oh, I wanted to show you. Okay, my black beans here are no salt added. When you get the no salt added, like none added, it only has 5 milligrams of sodium. If you got the regular black beans, it's going to have like 450 per serving. Yes. When you rinse it, you reduce it by about 185. That's still not down to 5. Okay. It doesn't cost more. It just means looking on the shelf and finding them. It's kind of hard in Walmart to find them, but they're there. So, start getting no added salt. That's a really easy way to reduce your salt. Now, in your canned beans, usually this size, it's always 1.5 cups. you rinse it and drain it. But a cup and a half. So this recipe calls for one recipe, just 1 cup. So what I do with the beans is I will take a cutting board and put parchment and just spread out my half a cup remaining that I've rinsed and put it on here, put it in the freezer. Next morning, I'll pull the freezer to get my blueberries from my oatmeal. Go, oh, there's those beans from last night. And then I'll just break them off and put them in a container. Part of what you're going to learn, and next week we're going to really go into deeper, is having on hand ingredients so you can make a dish when you're like, what do I make? I didn't have anything planned. Oh no. You have to have the ingredients on hand. So it's not that the beans are super expensive, guys, okay? It's just that I want to have this on hand. So I have a little container in my freezer with my beans. I have a little container with dollops of tomato paste. I used them last night for a dish I made. I have a little container with ice cube popped out pesto that I make, a homemade pesto. Those are all great things to have on hand to whip and add flavoring and nutrition to something that you're already making. So just little tricks there. Okay, so that's done. We can go ahead and set up the salmon there. I'm going to add the cauliflower. While I'm doing this, yes, the oven is it's going to start talking to me because I spilled. We are at the top of the hour. What I want you to do before you leave, I know you need to go, is I want you to flip in your binder, or it's in the front of the binder. You put them in the action.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Tanya helps me out here. In the front of your binder, you have action steps. You have a half sheet. Week 1. You have 2 of them, actually. And I want you to leave one here. Just because next week, if you forget it, because you put it on the refrigerator, I want you to have it here. Okay. So you just need to check off. You don't have to use those action steps, but I do find people are kind of like, oh, I need help with what should I do? This is not a program, not a diet. You do what you think is the next baby step for you. I have suggestions there. I want you to think about 1, maybe 2 things, not 5 things, okay? Remember, this is baby steps. So pull those out and start thinking about what you're going to try out. We're trying this out, guys. It may go as planned, and it may not go as planned, but there's learning in all of it. So just think about it while I'm finishing up the cauliflower here for our naked burrito. Yes.
You have to use black beans, you use other beans, or?
You can use other beans. Black beans is probably the number 1 accepted bean. So we use that in here. It kind of but you can use any bean. You can use, what are you thinking of, Jennifer?
Well, I'm sorry if I beans, not those cans.
Wow.
And we said, so
Yes.
throw them all together,
Yeah.
all the different varieties.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great habit. So Jennifer, if you have any of these habits, set up how you do prep and that, because
I throw them. I did them out to the freezer.
so you have a process, a routine. So Jennifer is sharing her routine for taking beans she got from the Manna colonies. Is that
Hold on. Yeah.
okay? And so she has a whole variety of beans that she soaks and has a whole routine to do. So that's great. That is great. You find what works for you.
Okay.
So yes, so you can definitely substitute a different bean here. So there we go. So we're just gonna mix that up, guys. You're welcome to add a little chicken if you're like, Teresa, I like the way this is coming together, but I gotta have a little bit of meat. Okay. So you can add a little bit of chicken in there, but try it. Those who are here tonight, try it without, see what you think. So it's just one way to add more beans, more plants to your intake. Okay, so add a little bit of cilantro, maybe some Greek non-fat yogurt, like a sour cream if you want to, squeeze some lime, whatever. If you have other ideas, please share. So questions? I am here for questions. Yes.
fresh time or natural to purchase them with them?
So Patricia's asking about would shopping at Fresh Time or natural grocers. So I try best I can, very good question, to keep it so that you can go to Walmart, a Hy-Vee, or regular stores. There are a couple items that I will point out that, yes, Fresh Time, and, I'm all about like whatever works. And if you find some products there that you want to run by me, great. So, but I do try and make it a little more accessible. It's not that I'm not against it, and I go crazy when I'm in Fresh Time because I love a lot of things they have there, and they have wonderful looking produce. So those are some things. If you love doing that, going there, do it, please. But I want to also make it accessible. So I try, I shop a lot at Walmart, Aldi's, Farmers Market, good place to go. So, but yeah, great question. Awesome. Okay, you got your action step set. Everybody does? Okay, awesome. So take it home, put it somewhere you see it. Leave those here in class. Leave one behind so that I have it here for you next week. So you can reflect and say, okay, this is what happened. This is what I learned. This is what's going well. This is what I want to tweak. So it's all about learning, taking that baby step. Okay, thank you guys. Next week, we're going to learn about the kitchen, how to set up the kitchen so that we eat more of what we want to eat more of, delicious food. That's good for us too. And also knife skills, sharpening, and some other tricks with knives. So we'll do that next week, and we'll have a little milder dishes. This week, we got a lot of kick going on here. So next week, we'll deal with a little bit of zoodles and basil and a special secret sauce that only has one ingredient that's really cool to have around. I have it around in my kitchen. So thank you, and I'll see you guys next week.